back.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so good afternoon, everyone. This is Cameron Rodman, the National Student Rep to the ASLA Board of Trustees. I and Chelsea Keith, incoming National Student Rep and the ASLA leadership, want to thank you once again for participating in our second to last leadership webinar. Today we're joined by James Taylor and Dalton Boyd. J.R. Taylor started at the University of Maryland and graduated with a BA in Public Relations and Sociology in 2013. After graduation, he briefly worked at a PR firm in southern Pennsylvania. J.R. joined ASLA in October of 2014 as a PR and communications coordinator. He serves as a currently between ASLA's chapters and manages ASLA's national social media accounts. Dalton is a landscape architect practicing in California's capital region who is dedicated to the advancement of the profession. His ASLA services included chair of the National Leadership Development Committee. He's been a member of the National PR Advisory Committee, the VP of the California Council of ASLA, a chapter president for California Sierra chapter, and chapter for public awareness representative. So I'll go ahead and toss this over to James and Dalton, and they'll go ahead and talk to us about World Landscape Architecture Month for 2015.
Okay, thank you, Cameron, and thank you for everyone who's attending. World Landscape Architecture Month is actually this April, so it kicks off tomorrow, actually. And the whole point of it is to really just, from a national point of view, what we're doing is we're connecting our 49 chapters to 49 different countries and IFLA organizations, and just creating a global conversation about landscape architecture, showing the value of what landscape architects do, and just the basic, I guess, task of just identifying the work of landscape architects with actual landscape architects, because at times, nationally, we find there can be kind of a disconnect, because people just aren't aware of the role of a landscape architect. So, okay. So more of a quick background on Dalton and myself. I'm the person who's going to be coordinating World Landscape Architecture Month, so any questions you guys might have about it, just forward them along to me. Dalton, is there anything you want to add?
Yeah, thanks for the intro, Cameron. And I'm a 2007 grad of Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. He went over some of the other things we've been doing, but if you have any questions about, I guess, some of the details of posting or how it's run too, and you can't get a hold of JR, let's say you're on the Western time zone, feel free to contact me. And Cameron, can we send out our contact information to everybody on the webinar following this so they can reach out to us if need be?
Yeah, that sounds great. I'll send out an email.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So getting started, what is World Landscape Architecture Month? You guys can read along with that, but like I said, we're trying to connect our chapters with IFLA organizations, which are pretty much like the Canadian version of ASLA or Brazilian or insert country here. And we're just trying to raise awareness of it on a global level. And we're doing this in a bunch of different ways. We're doing it through this connection where we're trying to start just a relationship between our chapters, but on a social media level and on a student outreach level as well. So for social media, what we're going to be doing is maybe you've seen some of these posted from our social media accounts, or I think some of the student accounts shared some as well on Facebook. But we're going to be doing a Design by a Landscape Architect social media campaign, which I'll touch on a little bit more. As I mentioned in the past or earlier, we're going to be connecting our chapters with other organizations in foreign countries, and then student outreach. And that ranges from two different things, whether that's going to different high schools or colleges and career fair kind of things, and just letting people know about what landscape architecture is, the work you guys do, and why it's important that they know about it. And all of this, as I said, is to increase the visibility of landscape architecture. So you should be able to see the cards that we've been using for Design by a Landscape Architect in your copy of Landscape Architecture magazine if you're an ASLA student member, which I believe are sent to you digitally, so you should be able to see one in there. As I said before, this is an international campaign, so we've been getting some international media outreach and raising and just continuing the conversation on a global scale. And then there's a a program that the New Jersey chapter, the New York chapter of ASLA are collaborating with Rutgers and this group called Urban Sketchers. That's called Sketch LAB. That's really cool. So if you guys are at Lavash and you came to the ASLA parklet, you probably saw me pushing this orange piece of paper on the left of your screen. Basically, what we're asking people to do is to download this, download some of these cards, post and take pictures of them with their favorite landscape architect design spaces as a backdrop, and then using the hashtag. What ASLA is going to do is compile all of these pictures into one central location on a Google map so that we can share with the media all these spaces that are designed by a landscape architect, how they make our communities a more beautiful, functional, sustainable place. Dalton was the one who kind of came up with the idea for the Design by a Landscape Architect campaign, and so he's going to speak to it a little bit more.
Okay, thanks, JR. Yeah, so the idea for the Design by Landscape Architecture campaign actually was, the overall idea was not mine. It was, in the past we've done, at the chapter level, some outreach on a local level with essentially large lawn signs that say designed by a landscape architect. And what we do is more of a guerrilla installation where we go out one evening after a chapter meeting and stick these long signs into our projects. And you know, we might take a picture and share them on our website or something like that. But really this year we were talking about, all right, if we're going to go from National Landscape Architecture Month to World Landscape Architecture Month, what's some kind of event that we could enlist not just ASLA landscape architects, but all landscape architects, and maybe even the general public in showing where landscape architecture has brought value into their community or their life. So the idea was to take that same platform, which has been successful for some chapters on a local level, and adapt it for social media. So we began working after the Public Awareness Summit in January, which I attended in Tampa, and we began developing this idea in more detail on how we could reach out to the chapters on social media to get these to get this effort going. So the whole idea is essentially, like you see on the bottom left of the screen, is to take one of these designed by a landscape architect cards, which also on the right of the screen you see has been translated into many different languages, and you take it out to a project site, a place that means something to you or that maybe your firm designed or a firm you're interested in working for designed, and you hold the card out in front of the camera and snap a photo and upload it to social media to share places all over the world that were designed by landscape architects. So pretty simple idea. The hashtag that unites all the posts is WLAM 2015. And if you go on social media, if you can just Google WLAM 2015 or go on what's called tagboard.com, ASLA has a tagboard page that unites all the different social media postings into one place. And that's where you can see that there's probably, what would you say, JR? Maybe how many posts do you think there have been thus far using the hashtag?
Probably 60, and this is before April actually kicks off, so
right.
The ball's probably going to get rolling a little bit faster starting tomorrow, I suppose.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty exciting. I've done probably maybe close to 10 of those posts, and just to get, the idea was to get some examples up there and get some critical mass up there so that people can understand the concept and jump in and start participating. So the idea that we really want is it doesn't need to be the showiest project you've ever seen. It doesn't need to be Millennium Park or Central Park or some special place overseas that's world-renowned. These can be ordinary landscapes, even if it's just your front yard or a small pocket park by your office. It doesn't. The idea is to highlight the diversity of practice, the things that we all work on. You know, it could be a transportation project. It could be for the federal government. It could be a national park. All these things. So if you're aware of these types of projects and have the ability to post, we encourage you to post any type of landscape that was designed by a landscape architect. So here's an example. I'm going to go through a few examples that I've done here. As Cameron introduced, I'm practicing the California capital, which is Sacramento. So a lot of these posts will be from Sacramento. So this is an example here of a linear park, and you get an idea for how I've approached some of them differently. In this one, I worked with the people who designed it to do a little bit more of a narrative, and it just so happened that this is a progressive district in the north end of the city and has its own social media account. So if there's an opportunity to link what you're posting to a social media accounts, whether it be the mayor or a project or the designer, I think that's an opportunity to get those people looking at the content and possibly retweeting or reposting some of the content so that we can really help spread the word to some of those social media accounts that have many, many more followers than people like me who have like 100. So this one here is a transit station. So again, you'll see in the examples trying to highlight the diversity of different projects. The last one was a linear park in the middle of a road. This one's a transit station with finishes and site furnishings and plantings that enhance the space and help this transit station feel a little bit more like a community place than just a functional piece of infrastructure. Again, tweeting at the project and the engineers who did it. This is another example, like I was mentioned briefly earlier, of a project that you might not expect or might not be the most glamorous landscape architecture project as far as the content of the project itself, but it's a very important piece of infrastructure for the state the state of California and the capital. So these bollards in the foreground are pneumatic bollards, and behind the planting on the right is a giant, very large footing raised planter. And so these bollards and that planter protect the state capitol, literally, physically, from cars driving out the Capitol Mall and trying to ram the building. So this project was designed by landscape architects locally as a security measure for protecting our government. So I thought that was a good example of a project that shows the diversity of practice.
And as we keep going, we'll see more examples of just places. It doesn't have to be necessarily an iconic instance of landscape architecture. It just has to be just things that maybe you've worked on or just have some significance to you, maybe have some kind of a narrative of why it's important to you. Maybe this is your favorite park growing up, or this is maybe the first thing you worked on at your new firm, or something you contributed to as a student, or something to that effect.
Correct.
So here's some more.
Yeah, we can. These next few examples are all the state capitol because it's near my office and easy to photograph. This one actually is a little different. This one was taken from a drone, and then the project there's at UC Davis. So we had this is a campus landscape architect at UC Davis. So we reached out to him about he's on our board. So we reached out to him about World Landscape Architecture Month, and they mobilized their drone to fly out and take a photo of a project on campus. So if you guys have campus landscape architects or your department head or anybody that might know of the projects on campus that were designed by landscape architects, reach out to them and see if there's an opportunity to get out there and take a photograph and get some attention during World Landscape Architecture Month for your this one here's you want to know?
Please. Yeah, just keep going.
Okay. And I think this is the last example. This is a Veterans Memorial in Sacramento. So this is an example of a space that was designed for living service members and those who've passed away. So this is an important instance where I tried to find out who are the sculptors and what's the narrative behind the piece, and include a bit more content. It's more than you can get on Twitter, but that's why Instagram, I think, that's a platform I've been using primarily for World Landscape Architecture, because you can include more content if you have it.
And here's just kind of just a basic orientation of how to use social media. Most of you, you're probably on Facebook, you're on Twitter, Instagram, etc. But it's best to hold the Design by a Landscape Architect card as far away from your phone as possible, just because otherwise it comes out kind of blurry and doesn't look that great. Is there anything else you want to add here, Dalton? Or
I'd just say for the ones that I posted, I'd take a couple, spend a little bit of time there and take a couple shots. Not, the first shot doesn't always turn out that well, so I'd take 10 to 15, maybe even 20 per location. And we've already covered quite a bit of the rest of that, but definitely make sure you set the location so that we can get them on the map. And then I'll obviously make sure to use the hashtag WLAM 2015. But holding the card out as far from the camera as possible allows you to get more content and also keeps the card readable.
all right. Okay. So, and here are just some examples of places you might want to take pictures of. You all are students for the most part. I'm sure all of your campuses have great instances of landscape architecture. To go out, maybe contact your department head, ask any of the facilities management staff, and just maybe try to get a sense of who designed it and maybe describe the area on your campus and kind of give a backstory, because I'm sure those are probably some of the more readily available, like really unique instances of landscape architecture that you could probably walk to in a few minutes. Dalton, did you want to speak more on this?
Yeah, I think this is a really good opportunity for some of you that may be graduating or at least want to just make some professional contacts, possibly on spring break if some of you are going on spring break or may already be on it. If you're going to be doing any internship interviews or office visits, I think it's a good idea to reach out to the offices you're going to be visiting before you go, or even while you're there, and try and get a short list of some of their favorite projects or projects they'd like to use to promote the work that they've done, and get a short list and go out there and take the photos for them, and either send them the photos for them to post on social media, or depending on the firm, may not have the social media accounts or may not have the people that know how to use it that well, so you could do it for them on behalf of the firm. So I think this is a really great opportunity for you to show some initiative. I know if people were to reach out to us here in our office and ask if they could do something like this, we'd be very, very impressed, and might be a way to differentiate yourself from the other people who are competing for the internships and the positions when you're getting out of school.
And another thing, participating in something like this, it just kind of shows that you're aware of what's going on in the news in terms of landscape architecture, not only on a local level, but a world or a more international level as well.
Yeah, there's a reasonable chance that we seem to be picking up, so there's a reasonable chance that some of the firms you reach out to may not be aware that it's happening. Maybe they haven't opened the emails or just haven't got to it yet. So being able to bring something up like this and get them in the conversation, a global conversation, I think is a pretty cool opportunity for you guys.
And again, because this is an international campaign that ASLA is trying to pursue, just basically if you have any contacts in foreign countries, maybe they're a friend that's studying abroad, let them know, send them the files, ask them to take a picture. You can download these on our website. And this is the point where I want to stress it doesn't necessarily have to be a landscape architect taking these pictures, or it has to be an ASLA member. Going back to just wanting to get people who aren't necessarily in the profession to identify a park or design space, and just identifying that with a landscape architect, similar to if you see a great building, you would associate that with an architect, or a bridge, and associating that with an engineer, or something like that. So just basic association of the two, and getting them out to friends in foreign countries. This helps expand the campaign on an international level.
Yep.
Dalton, did you want to speak more on the bike tours and such?
Sure. Yeah, I know a lot of student chapters and local chapters put on events, especially as we head into spring, where we kind of get out in the community. And so just kind of some more ideas for how you might be able to integrate getting these photos taken into something you're already doing. So if you're going on a road trip with some friends for spring break, or a road trip just with your family even, and there's some opportunities, or if the chapter's hosting a bike tour, or perhaps in the, if you guys head back to school in April, and one of your classes is kicking off the year with a site visit for one of your studio projects, then bring the card along with you and take some photos while you're on site if you're going into a big city, or even out in more open areas that, the Bureau of Land Reclamation and other government agencies also have landscape architects that work for them, and I've been doing some outreach to them as well to see if we can get some of their work posted, because a lot of people don't know the roles that landscape architects serve within large government agencies. So we're trying to get that highlighted as well. So it's this is just a slide, encouraging you to think creatively about places you may already be going, and you don't need to go out of your way necessarily to go get these photos taken. But if you have the opportunities already, then think about having the card on you, and that's why we made it wallet size in the first place, just so you could carry it around and have it ready to go as the opportunity presents itself.
Okay, so as I was talking about in the beginning, it is an international campaign that we're doing. So we've gotten some media coverage for it a lot. We've gotten a lot of media coverage for it already. We've had a few hits in Iraq, Brazil, and you'll see that some of these countries are connected with our chapters, so I'm not sure where some of the attendees are coming from, but if you happen to go to the University of Arkansas or something like that, maybe reach out to them and see how you can participate in World Landscape Architecture Month. And as I was saying before about friends in foreign countries, whether it's just a personal relationship or a friend who's studying abroad, if you're from the Oklahoma chapter, for example, as you see on this slide, and you don't know anybody in Spain, but you have a friend who's studying in Japan or something, let ASLA know, and we can send the cards to your friend and have them post about the World Landscape Architecture Month as well. And again, China is connected to the Illinois chapter. And this is another part of what we're doing during World Landscape Architecture Month is a program called Sketch Out Loud. And it's a collaboration between Rutgers, our New York and New Jersey chapters, and a group called Urban Sketchers, which is a group of sketchers and it's about 200,000 of them internationally. And basically what they do is they go out each month and they're given something to sketch with. It's a car, animals, something like that. And during April, what they're going to be doing is sketching instances of landscape architects. Sorry about that. And maybe if social media isn't your thing, or you don't want to share things on your social media page for whatever reason, what you can do is you can just go out and sketch maybe your favorite place in your city, or ask one of your friends who are studying abroad to sketch something there. And you can submit it to Urban Sketchers at the website below, and we'll send all of this information out to you after this presentation. So there's some other activities that are going on that we are planning on a national level and at the chapter level as well. For example, at ASLA National, we're based out of DC, so we're planning a tour of DC of some maybe off the beaten path instances of landscape architecture that benefit the city. They make the city more beautiful or more sustainable that you might not come across without the tour. The New Jersey and New York chapters, they're again doing this Out Loud program, and Dalton's chapter, the California Sierra chapter, is doing an event called Landscape Futures, if you want to speak to that, Dalton.
Okay. At the moment.
Oh, okay. New Dalton. What's going on?
You might just have to, there you go.
All right, Dalton. Yeah, sorry about that.
No worries. I already said it, so you got to move on.
Okay.
I didn't realize I was on mute. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, the Landscape Futures event is just an example of a public forum where we're inviting the general public in to talk about the future of landscape architecture and some new paradigms in landscape design, trying to get the discussion about progressive landscape architecture active in Sacramento.
Okay, and then as I had mentioned before, another component of World Landscape Architecture Month is the student outreach. So if you guys at chapter level or just on the local level are planning an event, let either your chapter know or whatever the professional chapter is in your local area, and they can help you find supplies or maybe a little bit of funding for it. And if you need any marketing materials at all, whether it's World Landscape Architecture Month cards or just general information about landscape architecture, you can contact me, and I can arrange to have a lot of those materials sent to you to help make your events a little bit more successful. We have some T-shirts. I know of college events I would go to. If a booth had a free T-shirt, I would probably go there or be more likely to. So if you guys are having any events, please let me know or let your chapters know, and we can definitely help you out with them during April or anytime really. And again, as I said, find your chapter. It's pretty easy to find your chapter. Some states, if you're in California or New York or Virginia, there are a few chapters for you to maybe choose from, so just go to our website and you can figure out not only how your chapter can maybe help you for an event, but also what organization and country they're affiliated with to see if you can be part of that conversation. And the other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is because there is a bit of student outreach portion of World Landscape Architecture Month, is that we're trying to connect students from our chapters to students of the different countries in IFLA. So if you're interested in maybe reaching out or creating a partnership with a foreign student, let me know. I'll send out my email information again, and we can try to set you up. Let me know what school you're from, what chapter, and we can help set up a connection. So just, I suppose, in kind of wrapping it up and how all these pictures and how these efforts are all going to be brought together and ultimately create a international news story from ASLA. All the pictures, all the chapter events are all going to be put onto a map that looks similar to this. This isn't the most up-to-date version of the map that shows all the connections from all of our chapters and all of the countries, but not only that, all the instances of landscape architecture that are taken and all the pictures that are taken and using the hashtag, and just showing the media and the world at large what landscape architects do and how they benefit the world. You can also find some of these, you can find an album on Facebook and on the tag board that Dalton was referencing a little bit earlier at that link below. And so this is just, oh, please.
I was just going to say it's pretty easy, too, if you didn't get that link on Tagboard. It's pretty easy just to go to tagboard.com and search the hashtag, and then on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see ASLA's Tagboard page. But it'll show you all the content, too, before you even go to that Tagboard page, and also gives you some metrics about how the hashtag is trending, which it's been doing quite a bit better leading up here into April now.
Okay, and thanks, Dalton. And this is, again, like we said, this is just kind of an overview of just some ideas you might have for World Landscape Architecture Month, whether that's getting involved on social media or getting involved more on a local level and hosting an event. Like Dalton said, maybe plan an event over your spring break, or maybe plan an event at your school. I think as the spring semester winds down, at least at Maryland, we had some job fairs or just informational opportunities. So maybe get in contact with your chapter, some handouts, flyers about landscape architecture, and go from there. Dalton, did you have any other?
Well, the idea for maybe a competition at the chapter level, you guys are student chapter presidents, so maybe organizing some kind of competition with prizes, and like JR mentioned, he has ASLA gear and stuff he can send you, so maybe a competition for T-shirts or whatever it may be to see who in your chapter, your student chapter, can get the most posts, or maybe for the most likes or retweets or whatever it may be. Just putting together a little competition and seeing if you can get the students engaged that way.
Okay. And before we open this up to any questions or anything like that, again, if you guys would like to get involved internationally, shoot me an email, let me know, and I can help you get set up with that. Or if you guys want to have an event or a competition like that, let me know also, and just send me an address, and I can definitely help get you guys some shirts or just general information things for ASLA. And if you don't have anything else, if you guys have any questions, feel free to let us know.
I think I saw one in the comments bar.
Okay.
Well, hey guys, I appreciate you guys giving this presentation. Cameron here. So we are going to go ahead and kick off with the question and answer time since you guys are done. If you guys have any questions, you can feel free to either type them and we can ask the question for you, or you can just state your name and the university that you're from or from the firm or organization that you are representing. And then Dalton and Jared will go ahead and answer. And if you could, if you don't have any questions, just go ahead and self-mute until you're ready.
JR, I did see the one question there from Chelsea about sending over the cards to put in studio with a poster. You only have the pre-made cutout cards that are like the full sheet, right? We didn't do any like mass production of just the cards, right?
No, I have literally looked at a box filled with cards at this point. So if you'd like to have the cards with the poster, let me know, and I will be able to ship them to your school. Chelsea, I believe you're at Cal Poly SLO, correct?
Yeah, she is.
Okay. And I gave one of the organizers at Labash a pretty big stack of World Landscape Architecture Month cards. So figure out who that was. I forget her name at the moment, but either way, we can send you some if you can't find her either.
I don't see any questions yet, but I have one comment because I've had it a couple times just from trying to promote this locally. People are wondering if they can use photos they already have and post them, and it's already being done by people around the world actually. So what we would just like to encourage is if you are going to use a photo that you already have, that just take a moment to just pop it open in Photoshop and then put the card over it in the corner and just pick a corner. If you go on the tag board page, you'll see a bunch of examples of that, just to make sure we get the card in each of the images rather than just posting an image and using the hashtag. We'd like to see the card used. So.
Hey, I'll throw a question out there for you. This is Cameron. Have you guys had, I guess speaking about your experience, have you had any unique interactions so far when doing your site visits, or do you notice that people are watching or asking questions or anything yet?
I'll give you one example, and this is, I mentioned this at Labash. It's particularly sensitive if you're going to a park with kids, because I usually, before I even take any photos, I usually try and, you can usually tell who the parents are, and just let them know what you're doing. I haven't been approached by anybody because I usually preempt that. But if you're going to be taking pictures of people, it's nice to be courteous and let them know what you're doing. Unless it's if it's just a couple of people. I posted one the other day of some people walking a trail by the Sacramento River, and they were far enough distant to where you can't tell who they are or anything like that. So I didn't approach them. But I'd say some of the unique interactions have been through using different Twitter handles or Instagram handles. I've had a local news agency comment back to me and about the photo because I did a post at a local TV station, and I got some response out of that. I've had some mayors and local government agencies start following both my account, and I post on behalf of our chapter on a different account as well. So getting some more prominent people following our chapter account and in my personal account. So those have been pretty cool to see, like the local minor league sports, minor league baseball team start following, or the mayor, or a council of governments, a regional council of governments start watching what you guys are up to. It's pretty cool.
On more of an administrative kind of overseeing everything note, I've gotten a lot of our chapters have been reaching out to their sister countries and organizations, and you can kind of follow along and see some of the posts that have been put up already. If you follow the hashtag, some of them or look on our Facebook page. They're from Italy. I have one from South Africa, some in Prague as well. So it's interesting to see what landscape architect design things excite landscape architects in foreign countries, and kind of gives you a worldly view of landscape architecture. And kind of building off what Dalton was saying, a lot of people at firms, Dalton's at a firm, he's looking at this hashtag and seeing some of these cool pictures. So maybe if you've worked on something or maybe a sketch and you put the card on top of that, you could probably post that as well. I know someone in New Zealand did something like that. So, and a lot of people at firms are looking at this hashtag, so maybe it's an opportunity to get your eyes in front of potential employers as well.
Yeah, you could take a photo of your senior project, end up on the wall, and put the card in the corner, and get creative with it. It's okay to use stuff that's not built or it's just a sketch. Like we said, the Sketch Out Loud campaign is going to be. I imagine there's going to be quite. Some of those started rolling in. I imagine there's going to be quite a bit of a content that's all just going to be hand sketches. So it doesn't need to be a project. The one unifier, or the two unifiers, I guess, that we want are the card and the hashtag. The rest of the content, what it means to you, why it's significant, who you post at, tweet at, all that, that's all part of it. But those are the main things that we need to link the thing together into a bigger story.
Okay. And does anyone else have any questions? Also, if you're muted and I don't realize it, I apologize, and just type something into the chat. Okay, well, if there are no more questions, I guess I'll let Cameron wrap it up. But if you want to have an event or you need some, I guess, materials or handouts for an event, feel free to let me know. Cameron will send my email to everyone, and you can email me on an individual basis, and we can see how I can help you out with that as well.
Okay, well, Darren, Dalton, I appreciate you guys taking the time once more to go ahead and bring this to our attention and to help us understand the best ways to connect with other people on social media and to highlight, our future profession and current profession. We appreciate everyone taking the time to attend today and the few questions that we did receive. We also look forward to hosting our next and final webinar in the coming weeks. JR and Dalton, thank you once more for presenting today's webinar. I'm going to go ahead and put my email here in the chat box, and you all can copy that and contact me directly. And if you show interest, then I will be sure to get JR and Dalton's email to you all, and then we can just kind of communicate further through that way. So appreciate everyone taking the time to attend today, and have a great rest of the semester, and best of luck finishing up finals.
Yeah, best of luck in finals, everyone.
Good luck, guys. Thanks, Cameron.
Yeah.
Thank you.